We have a great challenge going on in the forum called a Scrapping Goal Challenge, and the main purpose of this challenge is just to get people scrapping to do the layouts that they already need to do. Last week we did some scrap lifting, and I decided to scrap lift this layout by Kathy J. Well, Lee, she also decided to scrap lift this layout, and here's hers, and she asked me how I made my layout, how I figured out how to do this technique, to see if it was any different than the way she figured it out. And I said, sure, I need inspiration to do some videos. And so here is my layout, but I want you to notice I did not put the white line down the middle of my layout. I just decided I didn't want that, but these layouts have a white line down the middle, or actually a cutout line showing the background. Hers just happens to be white. And so I will take mine a little bit further and show you how to do that. This is much easier than you would think, so I'm going to make my layout disappear here. And go to your View menu and click to turn on your grid, and then go to the rectangular marquee tool and select it. I have a radius of about 160. I'd play with it. It could be more than that, could be less, whatever fits your layout and your tastes. And so I'm going to simply just draw my shape out. I'm just kind of eyeing it in my head about how wide I wanted it, and then I'm going to check Simplify to accept it. Now I need to center this layout, and I want you to note that if you have Snap to and Grid checked, it makes this a lot easier to do. I have my grid set to inches because I can relate to inches better than I can pixels. And so the main boxes are an inch apart, and the sub boxes are 1/4 of an inch apart. And so I'm just going to move this over one now so that this is centered. I've got it 1/4, one box to the left of one of the main lines on the left, and the same on the right. So that makes this subline right here as my center point. So you'll have to kind of figure out where the center point is, and you see the shape just snapped right into that grid. I'm going to get my rectangular marquee tool now and just draw a selection of the left hand side. I went way over on the left hand side, it doesn't matter, and it snapped real quickly right to that center. I'm going to hit Control J. Then I'm going to do that again on the right side, make sure I'm on that original layer again, and hit Control J. Now I have two shapes, one for either side of my photo. And I think down here I already merged it, and I'm not going to go that far, but what you would do next to fill these in is to put your photo on top of this layer and use the Control G method. That's in a lot of my other tutorials, but you would just press Control G to group those shapes together to fill them. Right now we're just kind of making a template. Now we need to get the small thin line that goes around this on our layout, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off the grid. I have no purpose for it anymore, and this already has the well, when I zoom out it has a line, when I zoom in it doesn't. If you want to get that line in there, you could, let's turn the grid back on. Well, yeah, let's turn the grid back on. Let's put that line in there so you can see. I'm going to go back to where I find that center point, get my rectangular marquee tool, and just select an ever so thin selection. You want it really thin. And I'm going to use my, since it's trying to snap to the grid, use my arrow key to center that. You see how that's centered right over this? Well, it needs to be long, so let's try this again. There we go. Just ever so thin right over the center of that, and we're going to move all the way down. I've got my mouse dragging this all the way down to the bottom. Very slow procedure when you're zoomed in, especially. I bet you that looks kind of psychedelic in the video. This is taking forever. Come on, come on, come on. Go, 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 go. YouTube only offers me so long. And you're taking it up doing this. Shall we sing a song while we wait? There we go, it finally made it. Okay, so I'm going to let loose. You might even want it thinner than that, I don't know. And simply going to make sure I'm on one of the layers and hit delete, and then go to the other layer and hit delete, and then Control D, and you have your line in there. Now, let's turn the grid back off. And to get that shape around the outside, I'll go back to my original shape layer, hit Control on the keyboard, and click down. And now I have a shape of the outer layer. I click down on the thumbnail of that layer and go to Select, Modify, and Expand. I think I expanded, I don't know how much I expanded. 60, I guess I did. You just have to test it, and then we're going to go to Edit, not Edit. I know what we need to do. Let's create a new layer. And then it's going to show up under Edit, Stroke, and I think I did mine about 30. You could choose your color here, but remember you can always change the colors later. And click OK. Let's try this again. I'm not sure what I did. Modify, Expand, 60. I'm on my new layer. Edit, Stroke. There. I think that's too much. Edit, Stroke. Let's lower that to about 20. Because I think if you get your line too thick, it's not appealing. So 20 is good, maybe even 15 is good. Control D to deselect. And then she has over here this small area for her text to fit into. So I'm just going to grab my rectangular marquee tool again and select an area and hit delete on my keyboard to knock that out. And now you're going to see that she also has these little nubs at the end, and I actually created a new layer to put those on, and I just grabbed a default brush, used my right arrow key to make the brush just the right size, and you might want to make sure you have a hard brush for this purpose, and just simply click down on the end of that one And I click down on the end of this one. And there you have your template that you can now fill or recolor into any color. If you wanted, after you did the little brush marks, you could right click here and merge down, and now the border is one piece. And so these 3 layers here could be put together and moved anywhere in your layout. Mine is off-centered. And so we'll go back and take a peek at my original layout. And if I'll be glad to offer this up as a template for you to utilize. And thank you to Kathy J for the inspiration, and happy scrapping.